Hello, hello, good morning to you. Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing today? So, yesterday we did something fun. Yesterday we were watching How to Train a Dragon and we drew this guy. So, our challenge yesterday while we were watching the movie was to draw ourselves with our dragon. So, if you guys are looking forward to the class today, you guys know what to do. You guys know to hit that share button, to hit that like button. And let's get this up and running. I want to hear you guys' topics for today. We are really close to finishing our sketchbook. Here. So, our sketchbook has one really weird extendy part, but then that's it. We are done with the sketchbook after that. We have gone through an entire sketchbook of sketching and drawing and learning and teaching and stuff. So that was awesome. So, as we continue our journey towards finishing this sketchbook, and then very quickly starting a new one, we should decide on what we're going to do today. Let's see. Where's my sticky notes? Bam. I loved your How to Train a Dragon drawing last night. That was fun. You guys want to do hair today? We've already done hair, though. We've done hair several times in this book. But I guess we can do hair again if you guys want. Let me know. I'm going to go grab a little bite to, something to drink real fast so I don't get all, thirsty and, dry, throaty. And I'll be right back. But meanwhile, I want to see you guys get to... We already have... Let's get to 2K hearts. And then let's get to at least 80 shares before we start our lesson. That is your ticket to the Golden Palace of Knowledge. Come with me and you'll see all the shapes from your imagination. And you'll be able to draw anything in this nation. Let's get to those numbers and I will be right back with something to drink. Okay. All right, got my drink. So how are we looking at those numbers? Oh, we destroyed this, but we're almost there. So I think that we will start very, very soon. So today's lesson is going to consist of hair, how to allocate the hairline, and how to use volume to create cool hair shapes. Okay, so that'll be our lesson for today. We will learn how to identify the hairlines in our characters and how to learn how to give them any hairstyle we want. Okay? We're going to identify the different factors that are normally hard for people when they draw hair, and we are going to tackle them together. All right, we have met the initial quota. Ding, ding, ding. Let the lesson begin. Clicky. That's my new name for my guy. Whenever something clicks, it's going to be Clicky. I still haven't designed them completely, but it's going to be something like that. Clicky is going to be in my book, the How to Draw Everything book. He's going to be your guide through my book. Clicky! So, all right, let's start our lesson today. Our lesson today is going to be hair and hairlines. So let's go on to our semi-last page of our sketchbook. I'm so happy. Like it's hair, hairlines, and all shit hair. All stuff hair. Okay? So today's lesson is going to be on glorious hair and how to make sure that you know where to put it, how to make it look really cool, how to make it have volume, and how to learn how to draw the patterns that go along with hair, right? Because it's not necessarily hard, it's just something that you don't really think about because it doesn't really get taught like very well. So we're going to focus on those elements and we're going to be drawing heads at the same time. I'm going to try to draw faces in different ways with different methods so you guys understand that there's no one way to tackle drawing these sort of situations, right? There's a million ways to draw faces and there's a million ways to draw hair and volume and shapes and everything. And you guys have to come to realize that as you guys go about it, because not every technique, not every way that you learn is going to always work. Right? You're not always going to have the ability to rely on one certain like way of drawing to get you through it. So what is hair? What is hair? Well, hair are little tiny strands that poke out of your skin. So if we are like zooming in a lot, let's zoom into Bald Rod's head. All right, we'll draw another head. This time we'll divide it with the eye line because that's mostly what you guys do. Whenever you do something like this, right, I like to first identify the spacing between here, right? If it's going to be a really cartoony character, cool. But when you split it like this, I like to identify the nose bridge first, right? How thick is my nose going to be? Because then that's going to give me the spacing for the inside of my eyes. Once I have that spacing for the inside of my eyes, I got to dictate how much space do I want from the outside of my eyes. And the spacing normally isn't very big from the outside of your eyes, especially when you're looking forward. So now I have 2 points. Cool. So those 2 points are going to be the points for my eye socket. That's my eye socket for my skull. This nose bridge is going to give me my point for my nose. And this edge is going to give me my collarbone. Not collarbone, my cheekbone. Right? So just by literally mapping out a couple points, that's it. Yeah, they look a little high. They're normally not that big for a realistic thing, right? They're normally like right here. But I'm just making a point. So if this is going to be your eye line, then your eyeball has to be right there, right in the middle. That is what you are measuring. So your eye has to be straight on that line. Okay? So if that's straight on that line, that means my eyebrows are right here over my eye socket. My eyeball is really close to my eyebrows. And then my eyelids create that distance between them. From here, I get to dictate any nose that I want as long as it connects to the nose bridge at the top and then the bottom connects at the bottom. Obviously, right? But when you draw through your shape, you got to remember to bring all those shapes back to that space, right? Like the shape has to go around whoop, whoop, and then come back to those connection points in your skull. right? So it can come out, but then it has to come back into this point. So whatever nose you draw is going to be from there, and it's going to have depth and go back. In this case, I'm just going to shade it real fast. My mouth is going to be underneath this. In this case, I'm just going to have a mustache, but my mouth would sit where my skull is right there. Those are my teeth. So if my teeth are these, going around into my cheekbones, then my mouth has to be somewhere around where my teeth are. So my mustache is going to just cover a little bit of that part because that's where my teeth are, and therefore that's where my mouth is. My chin, well, I have a little bit of facial hair, so I'm going to draw my facial hair. My ears will fall in between my eyebrows in my nose pocket. So you'll have a shape that's going into perspective. And then you have your bald head. Because I am bald. Like bing, bing. So what is hair? Hair are little tiny little follicles that stick out of your skull, right? These have a shape very similar to a spike, but they're very flowy. So it's kind of like a noodle, but with a pointy end. Okay? Hair tends to grow straight up, but as it gets longer, gravity starts to take over. So even though it still comes out straight, it's going to start falling down, right? And it's going to have gravity. So if wind hits it, what happens? Whee! Wind moves it. If it gets wet, it drops straight down, more heavy. And it has like watermarks and stuff. Right? So hair has the ability to be very flexible, very bendy. And as you connect hairs together, they end up creating depth. Right? So as you get these together, these are all individual shapes. And they don't always go at the same direction. Right? So you end up with hairs that are like just flowing all over the place, like right? But sometimes when you style your hair really pretty, your hair has like cool shapes, right? Like you have like updos and you have like bangs, right? And you have like, I don't know, like flowy hair that goes into curly hair and all sorts of different things that you guys do to stylize your hair, right? There's a million, quadrillion different ways that you guys can do your hair. It's one of the most like unique ways to express yourself. It's the way that you do your hair. But understanding that all these elements that you're drawing, right? All those cool things that we just drew. All the hair going around, right? All these things that we're drawing are essentially just basic shapes that are plopped kind of like just an extra element, like an extra nose or an extra chest or an extra arm that's just on top of our head. But we need to understand the volume of our head first so we can be able to understand these. So all of these are just lines or shapes in perspective, right? They're all just basic shapes, just like everything else that we are thinking about. All of these are basic shapes, all of them. Even going around, even the hair just going around is just a cone that's going around your sphere, right? This is essentially what's happening with hair. You have drapes that have a foreground, a front, and they're wrapping around and they're going around your shape. wrapping around it. This is what's going on with your hair. So as long as you understand how big your head is supposed to be for any instance, and how much forehead to leave, because a lot of us don't leave a lot of forehead, right? A lot of us think that the face is right in the middle, like, of the face, right? Everybody thinks that this is kind of like the ratios that we are supposed to draw. But in reality, when we have our head, we have like our face down here, right? This is more akin of like a real anatomically correct character, more so than this. But a lot of people just assume that this is how our heads are. If we did this, we wouldn't have space for our brain, right? Our brain would just not be able to be put there. Like our brain would be like here. Okay, so that's the way that it made sense to me. It's like I at least need to leave enough space for my brain. If I can do that, my characters are going to look a little better. Okay, so now even my happy faces have space for a brain. So big enough to host a brain, because that is essentially what your head is. Like whenever you're just drawing a head, like it's eyeballs, a brain, right? And like a bunch of bone. And then like, so essentially you just need to make sure that you have those two elements in your space for those two elements in your drawing. Right? At least make sure that you have enough space to have those things in there. Once you understand that that's the space for your brain, storage for brainy thing, or for thinky thing, thinky, squishy thing. Okay? So that is your storage container for your brain. So that is something that helped me understand how to leave space on the top of the head, right? When I'm making spaces. So keep that in mind. That is going to be just something that helps you down the line. So let's move on to, now we understand what hair is, right? We understand how hair can be shaped by like basic shapes, right? Cool basic shapes. So now how does hair flow? Because there's certain rules to it, right? So, for example, if we have a ball and we draw a face and then we draw a hairline. Let's just draw a little hemisphere for a hairline, okay? Let's say that we had a big ponytail on the side of the head, right here. On the side, not on the back, on the side. What do you think the hair would do? Well, hair, wherever the hair is going to pull towards wherever it is getting tension. So in this case, it's from the ponytail part, right? So all the hair that is going to be in their head is going to be geared towards going back to that tension point. Okay? Every single strand that we're drawing is getting pulled towards that connection point or that tension point. It's getting dragged into it. So you get lines like these. Right? When it connects to the head, let's draw this person from behind real fast. Okay. All the hair that's going towards there is also going to get drawn, getting pulled back there. All these hairs are going back to the tension point. Okay. There will be hairs that don't, and you'll have like little flyaways and stuff like that. Right? When you're drawing those, just make sure that you're not drawing a ton ton of them and you're not making them super, super dark, because then it just looks like horrible. But if you need to draw some like little ones, just draw them like little, you know, like just flying around. If you need to draw bangs, the same concept applies, but we are going to, let's draw a little character. Our bangs is just going to be a shape. Imagine it's like a hat, right? If you're drawing a hat, you find the circumference and you find the mass in front of the circumference of your brain or your head. And then you draw whatever shape you need. Right? For bangs, you're going to do the same thing, but you're just going to draw it in front. You're still going to wrap around. Let's say if it's like a wrappy round hat, right? It wraps around. It wraps around. And that is how you create bangs. You just have to wrap your shape around and then break it up with a little bit of line so it looks like hair. It wraps around. Everything wraps around. Hair that falls down is wrapping around the head, right? Bangs are wrapping around the head, around the head, around in a million different ways. I'm going to like draw it like around the head, right? Boom, around the head. So that is how you draw bangs or anything in the front of the head. If you're drawing this from the side, it's the same thing. It's just a little shape that protrudes from your head and wraps around your shape, right? Shoop. And that is how bangs are made. If you want to give them texture, you break them up. And again, the tension of the hair is going towards where it's being styled from, which is the top part right here. So most of the hairs would be pulling from where the hair is getting taught. What about guy hair? This is all hair. Like stop differentiating things from men and women. Like, especially things with hair. Like, would you say a guy with a ponytail, right? Let's draw Mr. Man Bun Guy. So we have Mr. Man Bun Guy. You think the hair that we are drawing here, right, this sort of hair, is any different than when we draw a pinup with a big bun? Like, it's exactly the same thing. Hair is not like a gender thing. It's just the way that you think about it is going to relay that, right? It's just the same thing. The concept is the same. The concept is getting hair pulled towards this area, right? That is essentially the same concept for both. So don't think about it like, oh, well, how about girl hair? Well, I know how to draw guy hair. I know how to draw all the guy hair. But I don't know how to draw girl hair. Well, this can be girl hair too. Yeah, it doesn't have to be just guy hair. It depends on how you stylize everything. Right? It doesn't have to be like that one thing that you think is masculine. Like, it can be turned into whatever. Start seeing things like shapes and stop thinking about like men and women. Like, even things like hips and stuff like that. Like a man body, right? A man body is no different than a woman's body. It's just differently shaped. It's the same thing. It's just the hip bones are a little bit wider. The torso is a little smaller. And the legs maybe a little bit thicker. Right? But it's the same thing. It's the same concept. So, but if you start thinking about it like this, it's going to be easy. If you start thinking like, well, no, I know how to draw men, but women are hard. Well, it's because you're drawing based on style. So you learn drawing based on like copying your favorite artist, right? So now you can only draw how that artist draws. So if that artist draws their superhero man like, "Roar, I am superhero man. I am super buff. Ah, look at my muscles. Oh yeah, look at me." Looks like powdered toast man. A little bit. Right? If all you learned how to draw was doing things like this, like hyper muscular, hyper like shape, like very stylized, things like this, well, yeah, of course you're going to have a hard time drawing a female body because you're going to try to implement all those things into it. And it's just going to look a little bit off, maybe too muscular for you or whatever. But you're going to try to implement those same big muscle structures, and the subtlety is just not there. Even though you still can. Right? Nothing's stopping you from doing so. But like that is something that I just find really silly. Like there's no like women lips and guy lips or like arms or legs or hairstyles. Like it's just a matter of understanding what you're drawing and then stylizing it however you feel like drawing it. Like the moment that you start like segmenting it into things like that, then you kind of realize automatically you're drawing based purely on aesthetics and style instead of thinking about your actual foundations. So it like whenever I hear people say that like that is it's kind of indicative of a person that's not like trained in the ways of seeing things and shapes. So it's not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's clear indication of that in a person whenever somebody approaches that. So if you do find that, start drawing more shape-wise, right? Learn your rib cage, learn your hip bones, learn the difference between just drawing different hip bones and see how that applies to whatever character styles you want to do. Women, men, chibi characters could be like, yay, with the little tiny arms and legs, yay. Or you can take that and just like make it into perspective because it's really cool to draw things in perspective. Or you can have like super cool foreshortening poses, or going back into the distance. And like your heads can be turning any way you want without them looking weird because you understand where things connect. And that's the power essentially of being able to draw like through knowledge and not through style. And that is why I try to teach this for you guys, so you guys understand this. Yeah, I don't take requests for characters. How about cyberpunk hairstyles? Okay, so let's go back to the hair because we're getting distracted. So hair is actually relatively simple if you understand your basic shapes. Again, if your foundations are based on perspective, right, and subdivision of shapes, it's going to be very, very simple for you to understand this concept. But if it's not, I want you to go home and I want you to practice drawing spheres and splicing them in half in different segments, different widths. Get used to doing this in different directions. Get used to doing this because this is going to teach you how to draw the front and the back of a shape, right? It's going to teach you it's also kind of like putting a rubber band on top of a sphere, right? If you can make it look like a rubber band is on top of it, then you have done your job. It has to have that slight curvature that only comes from drawing a circle inside of a circle. You understand that curvature a lot better when you do that, right? And things like this are going to be important because that's going to be like mapping out your face is going to require a lot of finding the front and the back of shapes. Kind of like eyeballs, need to find your eyelids, right? Especially if you're not looking straight forward. Your mouth is going to be another one that wraps around and you find both sides. right? So that's another one that's going to be important. The other one that's going to be important is your jaw and your ears. So you have to find both sides of it. So learning how to draw through your shape gives you that. And then from there, you gotta, for your jaw, it's gonna be a third point, your chin. And you're just gonna learn how to connect that, right? So all these things, learning how to draw through your shape, are crucial for doing things like arms, right? You gotta draw through your shape if you wanna know where your arms are gonna be, right? So your shoulders don't look weird. Right? Your legs, you're going to have to learn how to do that as well with your hip bones. You're going to have to learn how to draw through your shape and slice off parts of your shape so that you can draw your legs coming out in the proper place, kind of like we did with the rib cage right now. Okay? So learning how to do this basic concept of a sphere, and slicing it and finding like how to find like the edges and how to split it in thirds and fourths and draw through your shape. That is the core. This is the MVP of all drawing, right? Just doing this is the straight up MVP of all doodling, of all creation, of all art. So if you understand how to do this, you can easily draw anything that I've been drawing. Like once you understand that, you just start changing the shape a little bit from a circle, and now you have a cone. Okay? So with a cone, you can start drawing heads really easy. And they're already mapped out for you because you already have them all divided. Everything in the shape, everything in the drawing is already there. You just have to give it imagination. Right? So the moment that you learn this, everything else that I'm going to teach is going to be cakewalk. Right? So hairlines are really easy. Hairline is literally one of those hemispheres going in your head. So if you have your face and you draw your face, yay, happy face. Okay. Your hairline is going to be, you got to leave enough space for your forehead. Leave a little bit of space for your forehead. If you have eyebrows that are floating, what I mean by floating, if your eyebrows are like up here, right? Consider that your eyebrows are supposed to be anatomically next to your eyeballs. So your forehead, regardless of your eyebrows being really big and tall, would be around there. This would be about as big as your forehead would be, right? So you got to account for your forehead, and then the rest of it is going to be where your hairline goes. This is going around my shape so that I can get that roundness needed. I'm not accounting for the sideburns. The sideburns are added after because those are just going from the side of the head to the ear. So that gets added after. But this general shape going around your head is this exercise again, the exercise of just finding the front and the back of a sphere. That is that exercise. That is why that's important in this case. And then on top of this, you can add whatever hairstyles you want. Right? So once you have the placement of where it's supposed to be, you kind of can't mess it up. Like, because it's such a stylized thing, right? Hairlines, like just hair in general, is very, very stylized. So you can have anything. You guys wanted cyberpunk stuff, right? So if you guys wanted to draw something more like, I don't know, like the punk guy at a rock show or something like that, you're going to divide your shape so you can find the front and the back. If you want to draw like a mohawk, it's the same thing. You're going to trace a line from the middle around your shape, going around to the back. Find the point in the back where you want your mohawk to be, your point in the front. You can extend that and then connect it. right? Give a little depth in the front, maybe, if you want to. And you have a perfect mohawk that goes around your head back into your skull. There's no just a line. No, you're drawing this based on knowledge. You're not drawing this based on like, oh, well, maybe it ends up here. No, like, I know it ends up there. I'm not guessing, right? Whenever I'm drawing, I'm not guessing. If you're guessing, then you need to study that part. And then if this is the hairline, I'm going to give this guy like a widow's peak so you guys know how it works. So widow's peak, find the hairline, and then you just bring it up, and it comes down. So it creates like a little bit of a V in the front. So you find your hairline, and then you bring that up from wherever the midpoint is. For widow's peak. Yeah, so that's how I would go about it, at least. And let's see, what else? It's a free lesson from an RS class teacher. Yeah. I would like to say that I do consider myself a really good teacher. Like, I don't really toot my own horn a lot, but I like to think that I am a very, very good teacher. And you know what the funny thing is, though? Like, I have applied to a bunch of teaching jobs, right? At like different universities around the country. None of them have taken me. Like, no school that I have applied to has taken me as a teacher because apparently I don't have enough credentials. Even though I've been doing this for like 7 years. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't understand like the system like at all. Okay, so locks. So we realize how hair is, right? Like, if each individual hair is like this, right? Let's say we have a person. This person's going to have long hair. So when you draw long hair, you don't necessarily draw every single hair, right? Because if you did that, that'd be crazy. That'd be so much. So you're going to focus a lot on doing things like grass. That's what I like to think about it. I like to think of the end of my hair, especially if it's not supposed to be necessarily like super nice and neat. I think about it like grass. Grass that flows up, grass that flows down. I like to think about it like grass. So if I had a field, this would be like the hair, right? If I had to. But these same lines could be easily done to create hair, like a meadow for like, I don't know, like trees and stuff like that. Right? Like, this doesn't stop these little Z lines that I do. It's just Z's. But little tiny squiggly Z's that are curly and going in all sorts of directions. So essentially that's how I clean up my hair at the ends. Okay? If I know that the person's going to have messy hair, that is how I like to stylize it. But if a person has really nice clean hair, like clean cut hair, then you have to make sure that you keep that geometric shape and then just cut it in with a couple lines. So it doesn't look too perfect because, you know, that still looks kind of weird when it's just like a simple shape. But if it's supposed to be nicely clean cut, just adding a couple little lines gives you that life that is kind of cool to see in your... And it gives it texture too, right? So as you're doing hair, remember, it's getting pulled towards attention. So in this case, the hair would be coming towards the back of the ear. And whatever hairline, if there's like a split, like a hair like line where it's like you know, like a split, like people split their hair. Well, the hair comes from that split and it goes down. And just draw enough hairs to make it look like the hair is flowing. Don't draw every hair. Don't draw massive amounts of lines. Just draw enough lines to make it look like it's flowing in that direction. And what I like to think about it, it's normally like the rules of three. Right? No, yeah, a rule of three. So if my hair is going to be flowing in this direction, let's say I have like, I don't know, right? I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if I find that that's not enough, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I just fill in the space with my lines. I find that doing that is much more clean. It keeps everything super, super, super clean. Let's see, how do we make this person? Okay, so this applies to both men and women. It doesn't matter what type of hairstyle you choose to do, right? It's going to be the same concept. Hair is going to flow in certain directions, and it's going to be split normally from the top of the head to the back of the head on men, right? On men, most of the hairstyles that happen are going to be in two sections. They're going to be whatever the top of the head is and then whatever the sides are, right? Some people like to have like really short hair on the sides, so they have like, you know, like super buzz cuts, which is kind of just like shading in a little bit. And then they'll have like their hair in the top, like all super cool and stylized and stuff, right? That's a very common thing when it comes down to men's haircuts. They'll do it in two sections. They'll do the top and then they'll do the sides. So whenever you're drawing men, consider that it's two parts to the face, to the hair, not just one. With women, I like to think of it in three parts, right? So men have two parts, one, right? The side and the top. So if we are thinking, even if it's like a bald person, right? We have the sides and the top. Okay, so two sections. Boom, boom. So if you think about it like that, it's going to be a lot easier for you to break it down, because you're not going to just think about it as one huge, gigantic task. You're going to be able to break it down a little bit easier. So men have two sections. And that's only if they don't have like buns or long hair. If that happens, then the three rules apply, right? So this is mostly for short hair. So this could be applied to women with short hair too. So we're not going to identify it as men or female, whatever. We're just going to apply it to short hair. Then the other way is with long hair. And with long hair, you have three sections. With long hair, you have the sides. You normally have, or your bangs, or the front. Actually, you have four sections. You have the main body, and then you have whatever hair extension you get. In this case, let's draw like a bun. Right? So long hair has four. You have your sides, you have your bangs, sides, you have the main area of the body, of the hair, and then you have extensions. Okay, so let's break that down into a couple different ones. Let's draw, I don't know, maybe we want to draw somebody that has like little like pigtails. Cool, let's draw pigtails. So we'll draw the main shape for our body. We'll draw our hairline, identifying where our hairline is going to be. Our eyebrows are going to be below our hairline, and then our eyes, and then our mouth. Right? This can be as detailed or as simple as you want. Like we're not focusing on faces right now. We're just mostly focusing on hair. So we have our hairline. I'm going to draw my big, cute pigtails on the sides, or buns or whatever. And then I'm going to make sure that these look like they're in perspective. So they're going to have to be behind everything. So either I have to create like a little bit of depth right here with like a shadow, or I want to be able to create depth through my shapes. So I'm going to map out how the perspective would work for that. That's not the flow of the hair. That's just my perspective for my shape. Right? So the first thing I do is I map out my perspective so I know where my hair is going to flow to. So now I know that my hair is going to be connected to this and this. I need a hair part because hair is getting pulled into two different parts. So hair is getting pulled to this side and hair is getting pulled towards that side. So I'm going to set it up in the middle and the hair part is going to be right there up until our hairline. Simple enough till there, right? And then from there, I'm going to use the rule of threes to identify the hair going back to this area. So I'm going to have hairs that go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if I feel like I need more, great, then I add more. But I think for now, that should be enough. Okay, so my hairs are going this way into my hair. And then in my bun, they're also pulling from here, but they're going around my shape. So now it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Doesn't have to go all the way up if you don't want to. That's all a style-based choice. But just keep the rule of three for the little swoopies. And then from there, you get to dictate whatever hair is going to be in her forehead. From her hairline, some people have hair that pop up, right? Like, I don't know, like little bangs or little flowy parts that just go around their heads and stuff like that. They have a lot of women have that little flare at the front of their face. So what you do is then you add it. So now that we have the main body of the hair, right, we're going to add these frontal parts. From this hairline, choose how big you want them, and then just create the shapes in front. So you do it in 4 steps, right? As opposed to short hair that is 2. Unless you have bangs and stuff like that, then you have 3. But, you know what I mean. When you're drawing cool hair for an actual character, let's draw a little bit more detailed character so you guys see what it looks like when you apply it to an actual illustration. I like to map out my shapes, my characters. Boom. Let's give this one an earring, some earrings. This is going to be my hairline, right? I'm teaching you guys how to find your hairline. So that's your hairline. This is going to be my nose canal. This is going to be my nose. That's my eye socket, my nose canal, my cheekbone, and my mouth. Having those knowledge of those elements, I can go in, create my eyeball, and I can start drawing my hemispheres around my eyeball, creating my eye, knowing where my eyebrows are already going to be. My nose already knows where it's going to be. It's going to be from there to there, so it connects right there. I know where my cheekbone's going to be already because I already sketched it out. I know where my jaw is going to be because I already know where my ear is, and I know where my chin is, so I can connect those. Then my mouth shape, this is all broken down into a little spherical shape, so I can decide to do whatever the hell I want within that area. So in this case, we're just going to draw that. Going to draw our eye. And then we have our hairline already, so we can start designing whatever type of hair we want, right? Let's make what type of hair should we draw? Braids. Cool. Braids. Perfect. So braids are actually really easy because we're just going to identify again where the hair break is, because normally braids come and they drop around, but people normally have a split in the hair for them. So we're going to give myself my sideburns. Then from there, I'm going to dictate that I'm going to have maybe a hair part right here. And that is going to go back this way. Okay. So once we have that, braids are easy because you just draw really thick hairs. Right? It's going to be a lot of texture with your penmanship, but it's really easy to draw them because they just literally just wrap around your head as thick braids. Now, there's 2 kinds of braids, right? There's kind of braid that is really little and almost kind of like a cornrow. Really little braids. right? And there's also big braids, like the big braids. It's more like a chain. Right? You need to make sure that you have the flow of the interlocking hairs. So you need to know how to draw overlapping lines to be able to do that. So, but little tiny ones like cornrows and like just really like dreadlocks and stuff like that can be done by just creating little lines inside of your hair to keep it nice and simple, so you don't oversaturate with detail in a lot. Just make sure to keep it nice and flowy and not add all the lines to every single section. Like that would just oversaturate things. So make sure that whenever you're doing it, you keep in mind how much you're doing it. So that's how you would do it. Looks like Jinx a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. What about braids that connect to the head? Like a French, I don't know what a French, I'm bald. I don't know what a French braid is. I have a feeling it's these though, like the big ones, right? Like the big ones that are like in the back of your head. So if you are looking at a character from the back and they have like these gigantic ones with like their bows and stuff like that, right? If this is what you mean, I don't know if this is what a French braid is. I really don't know what a French braid is, but I'm going to assume that that's it because I don't know many different hair like styles. I really don't. I just know how to draw hair. I just don't know the different names for them. So again, hair like this would be pulled in a certain direction. If it was hair that was like super complicated like this, you have to pay a little bit more of attention of how it interlocks. But essentially, the whole concept is that the hair is just interlocking into itself. So it's kind of like a chain. Yeah, it's going to get really complex at some points and it's going to be like confusing, but you're going to be able to follow it through if you understand how the hair flows. And again, just keep the hair getting pulled towards those tension points, right? All the tension points are where the hair is getting strung in. So as you're drawing things like these, remember that the hair is getting pulled in those directions, so those little lines will change depending on where the hair is getting pulled. So I don't know if this is what you meant. I'm not going to draw a cat. We're drawing hair. Anything with hair. An afro? Well, I mean, take into consideration, an afro is actually really easy because it's just a big shape around your head, right? So you find your hairline, you find your ears, and then you draw this big shape, and it's all texture. So you just draw it however frizzy or however like little you want. And then the hair flows up because it's getting pulled up. So the hair would be up. Right? That's how you would do an afro. Draw the I don't know mermaids. Against the scalp? I have no idea what that is then. Draw locks. Locks. What the fuck's a lock? Okay, so if you're drawing dreadlocks, you can draw like lines that are going in all super directions. Just make sure that they have depth. And then just fill them in with like how you would fill in your basic shapes. Just fill those in with that. And you end up with some pretty cool looking dreadlocks. Right? Just draw them in all different directions. And then you end up with some really cool looking dreadlocks. So that's how I would draw dreadlocks. Just keep them messy, keep them like loose, and then just use your same like anatomy and like doodle like geometry knowledge thingy to just fill them in. Yeah, this one's gonna get printed. This book will be printed. This will be essentially, this will be like, I have two before that, so it's gonna be art block number 5. I think this one will be. The best way to show depth in short hair. Well, if you had a person with short hair, let's see, a person with short hair. Okay, so we have a dude with short hair. If you want to add depth in short hair, you have to remember that your hair is kind of like grass, right? So if you have like a person with a bald head, you can't show depth. You got to show depth through like anatomy. So you got to show depth through like indentations in your forehead, like the little tiny like bumps in the back of your head and stuff like that. If you have a buzz cut, you don't really have the ability to show much depth, but you can just do so by creating just a shadow, right? That is as much as you can do really with short hair when it comes down to a buzz cut. Even giving like little tiny dots can give the indication of an even shorter buzz cut. From there, when you start growing hair, the hair is going to start having a little bit of texture. So you're going to have a little bit of texture to it. Right? Little bits of texture. Because hair, as it grows out, it starts coming out. Then from there, depending on how your hair is flowing, it's going to grow kind of unruly. It's just going to go all over the place, right? Depending on where your hair grows. From this part, it's gonna go back like this. From here, it's gonna grow like here. From here, you get like that little weird tornado thing in your head, so your hair grows in a bunch of different directions. So once it gets to this, then it kind of becomes like I don't know, like clumps of hair. So instead of seeing individual hairs, you start seeing clumps of hair. So you start clumping it together in ways that you can stylize and make it look cool, right? It starts clumping together. And then when you start adding depth, that's when you start adding your geometric shapes to show the front and the back of these things. And that's when you start seeing the tension points for your hair. So you can start adding your guidelines towards those points. Same thing happens with facial hair. Facial hair will grow from one place and grow out, but it always comes back to the point of tension, right? Stylized mustaches are very, very like fun to draw because all the hair is getting pulled with the wax and the combing. It's getting pulled towards the edges. So everything gets done like that. It's not just a solid shape, and it's not just, like it wraps around your body too. It goes around your body. So it doesn't always stick out on both sides like a curved mustache. I know that because I have one. So this is how you show depth. Like you just start building basic shapes on top of your shape. So if you want to create really interesting haircuts, like start figuring out how to create, like, I'm just going to draw that redneck guy all over again. Right? Start figuring out where the shapes are and then start adding your texture based on hair is relatively easy. It's just hard to come up with really cool original hairstyles because, I don't know. I think that's the harder part. Coming up with original hairstyles is harder than coming up with the actual shape of drawing a hair. Right? So we have hair, and we wanted to come up with a really cool hairstyle. Let's find our hairline. So our hairline goes around. So now I can create as big of a hair if I want, because I know where it's connected to now. So now my hair can be anything I want. Right? It can just be anything that I feel like being, because I know where it's supposed to go. So as long as it connects back to those spots, it doesn't matter what I draw. I can draw anything now. Kind of like when you draw an arm or a leg and you know where it's supposed to go, right? So it's a clear example of that. So if you have like your hip bones, right? And you know that your leg is supposed to come out from here, you can draw your leg like a normal leg. But if you know that it's supposed to be here, I can make this into a very muscular leg if I want to, by just adding volume to that. Or I can make this into the skinniest leg in the world. And it's going to look right because it's coming from that same place, right? So it doesn't matter if you draw something skinny, if it connects to the right place, or if you're going to draw someone that has like a really fat leg. It doesn't matter anymore because you understand where it's supposed to go from. And when you take away the guesswork, away the guesswork, it doesn't matter what you draw. It could be like a little tiny character or a person with long legs, right? It doesn't matter anymore. And both of these are fine. Both of these work. Both of these will be perfectly fine as a character that's proportional or a person that has little tiny legs. It's going to be the same concept because you just know where things connect. And like I've always said, it's more important to know where things connect on your body than to actually know how to draw them. It's much stronger. So that is essentially the concept. With hair, it's the same thing. If you have an idea of where your hairline is, right, in accordance to the rest of your head, doesn't matter what you draw on top of here. It can be any shape you want. It's going to come out looking like hair. Because now you know where it connects, right? It can be big, it could be small, it could be little, it could be placed in any way you want. But now you know where it's supposed to be going. So it's going to look more accurate more and more and more and more and more. When we don't know where something is, like if you don't know where the eyes are supposed to go, that's why we have sometimes people that draw eyes that are like one little tiny one big one, right? And they do that so that they can kind of get away with a style, but it's mostly because they don't understand how to map it out easy so they can draw the eyes the same shape, right? They haven't gotten to that point yet, so they haven't taken the time to learn that yet. That's placement, right? The moment that you understand and you learn that eyes go on the same line, right? They're supposed to be the same. Once you learn that, anytime that you draw a character that doesn't have their eyes lined up, you're going to be like, oh, that doesn't look right. So it's the same thing with every part of your body. Once you learn where to draw the ears, guess what? You're never going to be able to draw the ears wrong again. You'll be able to draw them in any way you want, and you'll be able to understand them, right? The moment you learn how to draw a nose and where it goes, right, and the face, right here, the moment that you understand that, now you can draw the nose in any way you want and make it look fine. Right? Once you understand where the nose is supposed to go, you can draw any nose you want and it's going to look perfectly fine. Understanding the knowledge of enough to know where the placement of things go is very crucial. And in this case, the hairline goes above the forehead, right? Above the forehead, so, and, yeah. And then eyebrows are below the forehead. So your eyebrows, it's eyebrows, forehead, hairline. So I'm going to give you guys a really quick, easy tip that you guys can use to be able to draw your faces and double check them. So I talked a lot about, and there's a couple videos that I'm releasing lately because I like this system a lot. I like to draw my faces in a 3x3 grid. Right? This is mostly for placement. This is not for exact measurements, but this is going to help you understand where things go on your body. The hairline is no exception. So when you draw something, a shape, any shape, let's focus on drawing a couple different shapes with these grid marks, so you guys understand that it's not limited to a single shape, right? You're gonna have a bunch of different shapes with the grid mark. Then on this second square, we are going to draw our eyebrows, our eyes, and our nose canal. This does not indicate where our entire nose, just where our nose is going to come out from. Okay, so we're going to do different styles. Okay, so now that we have our eye, our eyebrow, and we also know the limit of where those can go because they can't go past this point, right? As you can have a shape get as close as you want to this, like your eye could be there and it still look fine, as long as it doesn't cross that border. This is essentially your skull. This is your skull telling you can't go past that point, right? That is the blocking point of your eye. So you cannot go past here. You can go before that. You can go as close as you want to the edge, but you can't go past that point and you can't go past that point. So your eye has to be within those 2 points. So as you guys can see, it works perfectly nicely with a bunch of different things, right? Let's change the nose to each one of these to make a different nose, so you guys see that the noses are a concept that you can draw in any way, shape you want. Okay, all of them have different noses. Now from here, in the middle of the eye, this is where you're gonna have your division between your forehead and your mouth, which comes with a little V. And that normally happens right at the crucial point of where your eyes go, at the end of your nose bridge. Okay. So that is what you're seeing when you're drawing this really simple shape. All the features go here, which is awesome because it's really hard to normally think of the whole head. So I like to think of just this front part and keep it nice and simple. Then my ear is going to follow this same line, but be back here. My ear is you need enough space right here for your cheekbone and your temple. And I like to draw it roughly at the back of that shape. Okay. It'll normally follow the same pattern with every single drawing. Okay. Then from there, you already have the outline for your entire head. You just have to round out that front part so that it's not more as boxy as you can. So round it out. Okay, so now we have our rounded head. This already gives us our hairline if we just split this in half, because we just need space for our forehead, and we have our hairline. From here, you can just give yourself any sort of like sideburn that you want, connecting the hairline to the side of the head. It could be anything you want. It could be little ones. It could be like a big mutton chop. Right? It could be a full-on beard. But it's going to connect to the hairline. Okay? So once you have that, now you get to decide any hairstyle you want, as long as it connects to the front and the back of your head. So in this case, let's give this guy a mohawk. Because we talked about mohawks. Right. Let's give this guy a French, like what I think was a French braid. Let's give him a bow too. Okay. We'll give this guy, this lady, how about we just give her like straight, like Cleopatra type of hair. So we'll have hair that's a little bit cleaner, but it's dropping down the back. And she's going to have some bangs that go around her head. And then, oh yeah, I forgot to finish the faces, huh? Then right here, this part right here, that's the mouth. So you can draw your mouths within that shape. And then connect this part to your ear. It's like the easiest way to draw faces, in my opinion. And it just makes it so like, it just makes it so easy. Like I don't know why no one taught me this when I was younger. See what I mean? Like it just looks right. Like it just, like no matter what the ridiculousness of the haircut, it's just gonna look right. Because you're drawing it from an accurate place. Hairline. Let's draw some like Prince Charming shit. I am here to rescue you, princess. Oh dear. Now the neck is kind of looking weird. This head was a little bit long, but it still works. My name is Flynn Rider. They can never get the nose right. Yeah, so it works with any shape. You split it into three, draw everything in your second circle, in your second box. Draw your nose any way you want. Your nose will sometimes cover the rest of your face if it's big enough, right? You have like a giant honker, it's going to cover part of your face. And then draw your hairstyle any way you want because you already know where your hairline is. So it becomes really, really easy, guys. Like it becomes incredibly simple to be able to take these things and then from the front, it's even easier because you only divide it into two. Right? That's like the front is even easier. Like learning how to draw the face in proportions is like so easy. Once you understand and you have a good teacher to teach you how to do this stuff. And I think you guys do. I think you guys have a good teacher. So with that being said, that's going to be the end of our lesson today. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I hope you guys learned a lot. If you guys do want to support and you guys do like what I do, you guys can buy my books. I had a little paper that had all this stuff in it. But I don't know where I left it. My pitch material is gone. Where is my pitch material? Anyways, if you guys like the stuff that I do and you guys like the things that I do like this. Oh, is it here? Where is it? Where did it go? I had a little art block thingy. Where did I put it? Well, anyways, if you guys like what I do, if you guys like my artwork, you guys can always purchase my books if you guys are interested in having copy and using it as a reference material. I call it art block because it's meant for you guys to be able to go onto your drawings, right? It's meant for you guys to go onto any of these drawings. And if you guys like it and you guys want to use it for yourselves, you can just grab a piece of paper and just be like, ooh, cool. I like that pose, but I don't want that character. I want something else. So I'm going to see how he built it. Okay, cool. So this is how he drew it. Cool. Now I can take that and then I can draw myself in a field with flowers and... right? It's meant for you to be able to use it as a reference tool. This is something that I did with a lot of books when I was younger. Like, I would get all the stuff from like Randy Bishop and, you know, Steven Silver and Chris Sanders and people like that. And then I would just go in and try to copy what they did. I'd be like constantly thinking like, okay, cool. Oh, he did that like that. But my books are meant for you to go in and draw in them, right? It's not an art book. It's meant to be a practice book. You are supposed to go in there and draw over it. See how I did it. Figure it out, like draw over my stuff. See the spacing, see the line work, see if you can replicate it next to it, right? This is meant to be an exercise book to help you guys. You can use it as a coloring book if you want to. Jeez, like you can just go in and start playing around with the lines, see if you guys can create contrast. See if you guys can do things like that with just a simple marker or material. Those exercises like that are just playful and they're very easy for you to learn things quicker. So if you guys just straight up walk through this, for example, how to teach yourself, right? Like if you went through this whole entire process, just copying all of these things, by the end of like an hour, you would be doing these, right? Like it's meant for you guys to learn. So if you guys do want to purchase that book, those books are in my links and you guys can choose between versions 1 and volume 2. And then if you guys just want a really cool book of pinups, like a book full of really hot, sexy ladies to reference from, I do have a book called Pinups. And that book is full of sexy ladies that like doing cool things. Ooh. And I love drawing pinups. So if you guys like my work, odds are you will probably really dig the pinups that I do. So feel free to pick that book up too if you guys want. That one will be up for sale as a printed version of it very soon as well. And I look forward to that because that's going to be like that's going to be my gift to the world. Because I honestly feel like I went above and beyond when it comes down to that book. It's almost 100 pages of just pinups. 100 pages of just cool and it's like this. It's covered with pinups head to toe. Like there's no space, right? Like there's like, yeah. So yeah, check that out if you guys like really cool ladies and you guys want to get better at drawing women. I tend to explain a little bit of my process there. But if you guys just like these type of doodles, buy my art block books. Those are the best ones to reference from and learn from. So you guys have a wonderful day, everybody. Hope you guys have a fantastic Wednesday. I'm about to go look at a car to see if I buy it. Yeah, I think I missed it. I missed the test drive because I went too long on the stream. So I'm gonna have to call him and rearrange that. And yeah, I'm going to go ride my motorcycle for a little bit. I'm going to go get some food, and then I'm going to come back, do some freelance work, and then maybe I'll set up my Twitch channel so I can actually do work with you guys. But that's going to start on Monday. Monday, we are going to start the series on Twitch called How to Freelance. So, Monday, we will have our normal stream. And then after that, around noon, 12:30, depending on how long the stream goes, we are going to start our Twitch channel called How to Freelance. And we are going to essentially go through my freelance work, not like reviewing it. No, I'm going to be doing freelance work while I work with you guys and tell you guys how I go about doing that sort of stuff. How I like talk to clients, how I manage, my own schedules, how I manage to get things done, and how to actually be a functional artist, person that makes money with it, and, see where it takes us. Right. Our first venture is probably going to be just catching up on all of the freelance work that I haven't been able to do because of my depression. But after we catch up with all that stuff, we will start going into how to build a character design portfolio. Right. And then we will build on how to apply, and we'll just get a job in the character design industry. Fuck it. Why not? Let's just do it. We'll just see if we can. And if we can, that'd be fantastic. And then I will walk you guys through every single step of the process. Yeah, it's the same name as the YouTube and everything. You guys can find me over there and that. The streams from Twitch might not be on YouTube. They just might not. The reason being is that they're going to be really long streams. Like, if I can manage a way to stream to both of them, I'm just going to be there for hours. I'm going to be there talking for a long time. So I'm not sure if it'll be suitable for something to upload to YouTube, but if it is, and you guys actually enjoy them, maybe I will. It gives you an option to do so. So it's not going to be that hard to be able to do it. Well, thank you guys so much. If you guys do enjoy what I do, you guys can support in the ways that I said, or you guys can just go subscribe to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is going to be the same name, and it has all these videos. Most of the videos that are important and I really, really enjoy, I uploaded them. Yesterday, I uploaded the one where we talked how to essentially build all your skill level from zero. Like how to see things in perspective without having to use perspective, right? So we talked about how to learn the act of subdivision through 5 steps. And those 5 steps teach you everything you need to know about how to get the type of depth that I do with my drawings. So if you guys are interested in learning that, go look at the videos on my YouTube. That video just got uploaded today, right? It just finished uploading today. So if you guys want to take that little journey and see how far you guys are along, so you guys can see how quickly you guys can go from one, step to the other, go for it. I challenge you guys to go check it out and go see if you guys are following the right path with your learning. I'm not saying that my path is the only right path, but following a structured path is much easier to understand than just going at it willy-nilly without any direction. So if you guys don't have any guides, if you guys don't have mentors, if you guys don't have teachers, well, that's what I'm here for, right? I'm here to help you guys through this process. So that's the reason that I started doing this channel. And that's the reason that I'm actually at heart, in love with this stuff, because it's just what I like to do. I struggled a lot learning how to do these things, right? This was almost an impossible task for me. I never thought that I'd be able to understand things like this. I never did. I honestly never did. I thought that I was just going to draw stylized the rest of my life because I just didn't comprehend perspective and depth and stuff like that. And no, it ended up being that I just had shitty teachers. That's essentially it. I had shitty teachers that didn't know what they were drawing themselves. So I ended up, suffering through the lack of knowledge and understanding because my teachers weren't not able to explain those concepts to me, right? So my goal as a teacher is to not do that. My goal as a teacher is to understand, teach, comprehend, adjust, learn on my own, learn as I teach, and then subjugate you guys to more precise knowledge or more understandable knowledge than what you would normally get from just a normal YouTube video or a stream or somebody that's just there to try to get money from you. I don't know. I like to say this a lot, but I don't want to be the next Walt Disney. I don't want to be the next Bill Eisner. I don't want to be the next millionaire that comes from this. No, I just want to make sure that I leave a nice, cool legacy of people that see me as a person that brought some value to this world. And I get to do it in a way that I love because I love teaching. So that is my little spiel of why I do what I do. Thank you guys so much for keeping me company. Thank you for being my drawing buddies today. I will probably be back here tonight again at, I don't know, probably around like 11 o'clock at night or so, just to stream again, have some fun, do a little doodling before going to bed, and getting my mind right, nice and set before I just clock out for the day. Like, that's something that I just like doing. So with that being said, I'm going to teach you guys some stuff tonight. So make sure that you guys tune in. If you guys feel like drawing, bring your sketchbooks, bring your good attitude, and bring your query minds, because that's more important to me too. Like, knowing that you guys have questions and you guys are asking things and you guys are getting the value from your time that you're giving me. Right? If you guys are giving me time, I will give you guys knowledge. If you guys give me support, I will give you guys more time. And if I have more time to give you guys and more time to knowledge, then you guys will increase significantly. So if you guys help me, I help you. And, you know, I don't know if there's so many people like me out there that are just willing to just teach for nothing. So anyways, have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody. You guys are awesome. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. But before we leave, like I always like to say, live a little, love a little, laugh a little, and laugh. And what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Draw a lot. Have a wonderful day, everybody.